variable still remains 0, whereas the coefficient of artificial variable is given as minus m. M itself is such a huge number that anything if subtracted from m remains positive, and anything if it is subtracted when any quantity is when m minus any other quantity remains as m, whereas any number minus m will take the value of minus m itself. Moving on, the table that we are supposed to construct in order to solve this big problem by using Big M method is similar to the one that we have dealt with earlier in the day for using the simplex method. Here the basic variables are written in the first column, then the coefficient of basic variable CBO is mentioned here, then the variables themselves, that is x1, x2, s1, s2, a1 and a2, then the RHS ratio. The rest of the procedure remains the same. So here from the last set of equation that we have written in the form of standard format to be solved by Big M method, I'm gonna write the objective coefficient of the basic variable in the objective function here. So therefore here the coefficient of x1 in the objective function is minus 2, so therefore I'm going to write it as minus 2. x2 it is minus 1, s1 s2 are 0, and a1 is minus m and minus m. Okay, similar to the simplex procedure that we had adopted earlier, we are supposed to consider a certain set of basic variables here to evaluate first. But here in the Big M method, we are going to consider the slack variable and only the artificial variable, because if we consider the surplus variable, which already consists of a coefficient in the constraint as minus 1, it will not form a unit matrix. Since it does not form a unit matrix, it will raise to a repetition of iteration without improving the solution, a case which is called as degeneracy, which I'm going to teach you in the subsequent videos. So therefore here in the first set of table while considering the solution table, the first set of variables that is considered here are the slack variable and the artificial variable, and the z equation line remains the same. Okay, so moving on, similar to the procedure that we had used in the simplex method, in the Big M method also the rest of the procedure of calculating all of the values in all of the cells remains the same. Even otherwise, I'm going to simply brush through the whole of the calculations once again. The coefficient of s1 in the objective function is 0, so therefore I'm going to write it as 0 here. The coefficient of artificial variable in the objective function is minus m, and artificial variable number 2 is also minus m. I'm going to leave this particular cell blank. The first set of values that we need to fill in the first row corresponding to the slack variable is taken from the first equation, that is x1 plus 2x2, x1 plus 2x2 plus s1 is equal to 4. So therefore I'm going to simply take this particular values x1 and write it here, 2x2 I'm going to write it here, s1 exists over there, so therefore s1 is written here, s2 is non-existent in this particular constraint, so therefore it is not written over there, it is artificial variables are absent, and the constant is 4, sorry, RHS is 4. To fill up the rows of the cells of the second row corresponding to artificial variable a1, I'm going to take the values from the second equation. So therefore here it is 4, 3, s1 is not present, s2 is minus 1, a1 is present in that particular equation, so therefore I'm going to write as coefficient as 1, then a2 is not present, and the constant is 6. Okay, similarly the third row is also filled up, 3, 1, s1 is not present, s2 is not present, a1 is not present, and a2 is present over there, so therefore the coefficient of a2 in the third constraint is 1, so therefore I'm going to write it as 1 here, and the constant is 3. So as I had told you in the earlier video, the basic variable that is considered here, if you look at the corresponding values here, it always forms a unit matrix. So therefore here S1 and S1 here, it forms a unit matrix, A1 0 1 0 and A2 0 0 1. So therefore if you consider this and this row, that is column of S1, S2 and A2, which is available S1, A1 and A2, S1, A1 and A2, if you consider, it is in the form of a unit matrix. Now moving on, the next step that we need to do, we need to calculate, is to calculate the Z equation values, similar to the one that we had done earlier. So therefore here the Z equation values for this particular cell is calculated as CBO into Xi, summation of CBO into Xi throughout, minus of the CO. So here 0 into 1 plus minus m into 4 plus minus m into 3 minus of minus 2, therefore it becomes minus 7m plus 2. Similarly, this one is minus 4m plus 1, 0m 0 0, and we do not calculate anything here. This is similar to the one, the rest of the procedure is similar to the one that we have used in the simplex method. So here we have two cells here with minus sign, that is a value with a negative signs are available in two columns. So out of which we are now supposed to select that column which has the highest possible value with a negative sign. So therefore I've already told you m itself is a big number, so 7 times m is a bigger number. So therefore x1 is selected as the entering column just by virtue of this minus 7m being larger in terms of magnitude than minus 4m. Similarly, similar to the simplex procedure that we had earlier discussed in the earlier videos, now I'm supposed to calculate the ratios. So therefore here the ratios are 4 divided by 1, which is equal to 4. This is 6 divided by 4, which gives us 1.5, and RHS divided by the entering column coefficient. What I mean to say is RHS divided by the entering column coefficient. RHS divided by the entering column coefficient of this particular row is 1, entering column coefficient of this row is 4, entering column coefficient of this row is 3. So here 3 divided by 3 gives us 1. So here amongst the ratio values, we are supposed to select the positive values only. In that, to select, since we have all the values 4, 1.5, 1, they're all positive values, we are now supposed to select a leaving row wherein the ratio is the least possible. So therefore among 4, 1.5 and 1 is the least possible values. Whenever we have negative values here in the ratio column, we do not consider those negative values. We consider only the positive values, and the least among those positive values is considered as the leaving row. Now we get into the next set of iterative table, wherein S1 is not yet replaced, so therefore S1 remains as it is. A1 is not yet replaced, so therefore it remains as it is. A2 is now replaced by X1, so therefore I'm going to write X1 here and call it as the knee pivot element. Okay, just as we had discussed earlier, the coefficient of basic variable in the objective function needs to be taken from this particular row and written here. So the coefficient of S1 in the objective function is 0, A1 is minus m, and X1 is minus 2. Okay, now among all of these values among all of these cells that needs to be filled with values, we first fill those values which is called as the new pivot element values. So new pivot element values are calculated as old element in that particular position of the previous table divided by the key element. Key element is the element at the intersection of the entering column and the leaving row. So therefore key element is 3 here. Old element in this position was also 3. So 3 divided by 3 will give you 1. Old element in this particular position of the new pivot element, old element in this particular position of the previous table is 1, key element is 3, so therefore the value becomes 1 divided by 3. This becomes 0, 0, 0, 1 divided by 3, and RHS is 3 in the previous table, and the key element is 3, so therefore 3 divided by 3 will give you 1. So we have now been able to fill up those values, those cells of the new pivot elements. So when we get into the subsequent tables from one to the next, apart from the first table, the rest of the tables